Well, good morning. Granny Gear here for Old Guy on a Bike. Well, I'm just out on a quick shakeout cruise on the Time 80HX to make sure it's working good. I've got a pretty big ride planned for tomorrow. And the reason for that, well, I've gone and done it again. I signed up for something stupid. Come on along. I'm going to tell you about that. And also previews of coming attractions. Stuff I've got going on, irons in the fire, things I've been thinking about. Anyway, all that and more on this Friday's video. Here we go. Oh yeah, I've really done it. I paid my money. I signed on the dotted line. I'm a little bit afraid because I've signed up for something that will be probably the hardest, certainly one of the hardest rides I've ever done, or at least have tried to do, will try to do. In one day, it'll be the most mileage and the most elevation gain I've ever done. And I'm not getting any younger. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I also want to talk a little bit about the prep for it, the bike I'm going to be using, what I'm going to be doing, how I've been kind of preparing for it, some things I've been thinking about to improve my cycling performance just in general, especially as an aging athlete. You know, when you need more recovery and you need better nutrition. Things like that that I've kind of ignored through the years and I've been focusing on. Be talking about that a little bit, my plan. And like I said, I've got all kinds of things going on that are kind of in the mix. Things I've been reviewing, things to review. I want to let you know what's coming up so you can stay tuned to this channel and be informed when I'm informed, okay? I'm going to ride up the top of this hill and I'm going to talk a little bit about this big, stupid ride that I've got myself into. We'll see you guys at the top. Okay, got that done. It's getting hot already. So, the big stupid ride that I signed up for and paid good money for. I don't know why I do these things to myself. I mean, I sort of do and I sort of don't. I mean, at my age, I should be settling down and taking it easy, but oh no. I've got to every once in a while get a wild hair and go, I wonder if I can do that. And this one, I'm honestly not sure if I can, but I've been working really hard to be able to do it. I guess we'll just see how it goes. 154 miles, 16,000 plus feet of climbing in one day. Does that sound hard to you? Well, it may not, depending upon who you are. But for me, that is a big chunk to swallow. Now, I've done, I think the most elevation I've done in one ride was 12,500 feet. That was on a mountain bike in a day. And that was a big day. And so mountain bikes, that counts for more. So I was probably a lot of elevation, more than 12,000. To combine that, the ride is called the Climb to Kaiser. Now, if you've been in the cycling community long enough, especially on the West Coast, and you like to go do hard things like that, well, Climb to Kaiser, I think it's been around for, I'll put it up on the screen, 45 years, something like that. Event's been running. Starts in Clovis, California, out of Fresno, right around Fresno, and goes up into the Sierras. And I mean, goes up. It gets up to elevation 9,000-ish feet, something like that. And so at some point, I mean, all the climbing, it's 80 miles basically of climbing, but most of the serious climbing's in 50 miles or so. So you're going to do all that elevation gain pretty much in 50-ish miles. Now, that ought to be something else. So I had a choice on what bike to take, didn't I? Of course, what do I have in my stable that is just designed for days like that? Well, I'd say it's the Time 80HX, because that is truly a superior endurance all-road type of platform, and it's efficient. It's much lighter than the Cyclosis, of course, no suspension stem, no suspension seat post, carbon frame, etc. And so I got great wheels on it. And I thought, okay, I think that's what I'll do. But I had one concern, and that was gearing. Now, I've been thinking a lot about gearing lately, and that's some videos coming up. There'll be a combination of Tech Tuesday and probably regular full content videos. Because gearing is something that's been on my mind, both for 1x and for 2x. Now, the 2x was inspired mostly because of the climb to Kaiser. I'll be talking about that briefly. But I'll be going into depth on some gearing changes. But stand by, because I am rethinking things a little bit on the gravel bike. What that means, well, I'll reveal that later. So, with the Time 80 EHX, I wanted to be able to spin reasonably comfortably at a 10% grade. Not like super fast, not crazy hamster, but I didn't want to be under a gear at a 10% grade, because 10% is probably maybe an average percentage of steep roads, mountain roads. And I think this ride gets up to like 15, 16 at times, but that's the exception. I can almost do that with the gearing I have. So I have the SRAM 4835 front with 1136 rear chain, rear cassette. But that isn't quite, it's great for all around, but it's not quite maybe enough. So I am changing the crankset to the SRAM Rival 4633, which will give me a 33-36 low gear combination. And based on what I've been watching in my gears, my speed and grade as I've been riding, I think that's going to get me the numbers I need. Would I like to have maybe their 4330 on there for this ride? Yes. The crank? Yes, I probably would, but that involves some other changes that I don't really want to do. And also, I'm thinking I will keep the 4633 crank on here long term, and I'll talk more about that in my gearing videos. Nutrition. I'm going to do a video series on my nutrition journey, but I'm still sorting through things. Do I look like I'd be pre-diabetic? Well, I was. And I was that way for a long time, with our medical system really not paying much attention or giving great advice on something like that. I kind of stayed that way, and I thought, whatever. I don't know, what does that even mean? Well, if I was pre-diabetic that long, I was also almost certainly insulin resistant, which led to all kinds of inflammation. Over the last couple of years, Mrs. Granny Gear and I have refined our diet to the point where the inflammation in our bodies has lowered. I can tell because of the arthritic things in the joints. It has pretty much completely gone away without doing much of anything else. My blood work a year later, hey, guess what? I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. I'll be talking about that. But more, when I'm talking about nutrition in this case, is talking about fueling myself well on the bike and recovering well. Because that's something, honestly, I never really paid very much attention to. If you told me how many calories I ate today on the ride, I'd have no idea. How many carbs? No idea. I just ate and drank as it occurred to me, and, I got away with it. But you know what? At 65, I'm not getting away with it anymore, and I will not get away with it on a 12-hour ride with 16,000 feet of climbing. I have to be dialed for that, and I've been working on that a lot. Looking at my calories, looking at my carbs, keeping protein there too as well for the long, slow burn. So for this ride, mostly I'll be talking about it later, but I'll be using mostly Element for my electrolyte hydration, and Fluid Performance Drink for just some fuel in the bottle. And I'll be mixing that in with, I like to eat real food too. I make my own little homemade burritos with almond butter and honey. Be using those. They're like 400 calories each. Payday bars. Man, is there anything better than a Payday bar? They don't even melt like the Snickers bars in the summer. So I'll be doing a lot of that, and I've been dialing that in. Hopefully that's going to work. So I got that coming up. It's at the end of June, and I probably won't be talking about too much more till I'll try and film it the day of the ride, but I got to really pay attention to the ride too. So I'm going to take the camera. Hopefully that works out. We're starting in the dark, I think at like 4:30 in the morning, because I don't want to be out there all night, and there are time cutoffs, and I don't want to miss that. All right, so phase 2 of this video, what is coming up next? Abbas, for instance. Abbas, did you know the bike lock people, German company, they make all kinds of bike locks, little ones, big ones, secure ones, things to try and keep your bike from being someone else's and not yours. Well, they also make helmets, like this Game Changer 2.0, which you will see, spider webs, which you will see on riders in the Pro Peloton. I've got 3 helmets from them I'll be talking about. This one's kind of on the wild side, It's been really great though for road riding so far. I've also got a couple other models, one that's kind of an all-rounder and one that might be good for adventure and in gravelly adventures and things like that. I got some super secret tires I can't even talk about yet, but what's interesting about all three of them, they all follow that trend of being bigger and bigger tires. Two of them are 45s, one of them is a 50. And they're tire models, two of them at least, that I already know really, really well. These are just Max Biggie. That is coming up. There's an embargo, but I'm already riding one of them. I'll be talking to you about those. Also, I'm not a data-driven guy. I've talked about that before when I did my Wahoo Element Roam video, because the numbers, I don't live by the numbers, as in like, I don't know how many calories I ate, etc. But you know what? I just went Whoop. Yep, see that little black band? That is a Whoop fitness tracker. It's very much not like me, but I'm trying to be the new me. I'm trying to be the new Granny Gear. I'm trying to be maybe a smarter Granny Gear. So I'll be living with this Whoop now. Oh, I signed up for a year, so I'm going to go at least, I think, that long. But up into this ride, I want to know, am I recovering well? If not, why? And I'll be digging into that, and my experience is not, super deep. I am not DC Rainmaker, but it'll be very experiential in how that's been for me under the circumstances that I want to use it. And I got some new eyewear. Tifosi sent me over a couple new pairs of glasses. I'll be updating that. This is one of them right here. I got another one that I'm waiting for. When I get those, I'll talk about them. And so far, yeah, I really like this. What do you guys think? This is one of their new models. Let's see, what else? Clothing. Got some clothing I've been in the process of wearing and trying out. It's spring-summer clothing, so it just recently got hot enough to actually use some of it. I've got some stuff from Pearl Izumi, including shoes, gloves, some bib shorts, cargo bib shorts, which I love, nice casual jerseys, also a couple things from Rab, waiting for a shirt from Ornat, and I got a couple other things that are coming to me. I want to talk about those coming up because you know what? Sometimes spring and summer, you just want to be kind of casual and go out for a ride. You don't want to look like Joe Lycra. Well, this is that clothing. We'll be talking about that. Now, I love the Redshift products. I run the suspension stem on the gravel bikes, and recently I was a convert to their suspension seat post for the rougher days, and I've just left it on my Cyclosis gravel bike. Well, remember, I run the Pro Post on that, but I also have their Endurance Post, the more longer travel, slightly heavier, more adjustable version. That I put on my bike packing conversion bike on Project Curly. Now, in the middle, if those two got together and had a love child, it would be the new Pro Endurance Post. And I have a sample of that. Redshift showed that at Sea Otter, kind of a soft launch. And I've got one of those, and if it hadn't been for all the training miles I've been putting in for this ride, I'd already be on it. But I'll be getting on that this weekend, and I'll be talking about, well, why is there a third post, and why might you choose that over any other? All right, I think that's enough for now. It's getting hot. I'm going to run back to the house. My bike seems to be working really, really well. And I'm going to go meet the Thursday group for coffee. And then I'll crawl into my editing machine and spit out a couple more videos for you guys. I've really been enjoying the Tech Tuesdays. I think you guys have too. I'll be doing a lot more of those, but I want to go more in depth and do more of the review stuff for the Fridays. All right, that's it for now. You guys have a great week and or weekend. Go ride your bikes and maybe even sign up for something stupid. You guys take care.